Hi, this is Jeff Phoenix with Streamingteacher.com. In this month's tech tip, we'll be covering the Lathe Groove toolpath, specifically focusing on the geometry selection of that and highlighting the flexibility of choosing the 1 or 2 point geometry selection method. Here I have a part that has a groove already modeled into it. It's a very boring groove, just a straight groove with 2 parallel walls perpendicular to the groove floor. If we were to go ahead and pull in a Lathe Groove toolpath, we are greeted with this grooving options. This is our geometry selection. And anytime I've ever done grooves where it's been modeled into the solid itself, I always select chain selection. This is well and fine, but the problem is that we're now locked into the shape of that groove. Let's say if the engineer intended to have this be deburred on the surfaces here, having a sharp corner like this will leave a burr and make it very hard for your deburr department to come in and clean those burrs up. So I always like to add little radii here. Or let's say if we wanted to add radii to the inside corner for a better fit of our O-ring. Or perhaps there's a rev change and we need to have a tapered added to this face. There's no real easy way to do this without having some significant model prep changes made. If we don't go with the geometry chain selection and we instead pick 1 or 2 points, we have a lot more flexibility over what it is we're going to do with this groove. So for this first example, we're going to do 2 points. When we chain with 2 points, we need to have an inside corner selected and an outside corner selected. So I always like to come in and do the quadrant of this point on the inside corner and then drag this box to the quadrant of the outer point. Go ahead and hit enter, select the tool we want. And this looks very similar to the groove geometry we had before. The difference is if we come into parameters and go to our groove shape parameters tab, we're greeted with this cornucopia of options here to help shape our groove. Because we use 2 points, we are locked into our depth of the groove and our width of the groove, or in this case, our height and our width. These are both grayed out, so we don't have the options with 2 points. But we can come in here and change the radius of our top corner. So in this case, I want to add a 10 thousandths radius. And let's come in and add a 30 thousandths inside radius here for our grooves. And we can go ahead and add the same to the other side and take a look at what we get. I'll remove our shading, and then we can see that our finished path of our groove does have these 10 thousandths radius breaks. This will be really good for deburring our topside surface and save us a lot of handwork trying to remove the sharp edges. Let's go back into our parameters. And let's say that there was a rev change where we wanted to add a taper to both sides, maybe like a 5-degree taper. Before I go add it to our right side over here, I want to take a look at the quick set corners. This allows us to copy parameters over to one side and vice versa. So in this case, I want to take my taper. Let's say if we have a very specific thing that we might mess up if we're entering the numbers in ourselves a second time, we can go ahead and turn our right side to equal our left side. So I'll take everything on the left, copy it over to the right with that button press. And now we can see that our convoluted tapered angle is the same. Go ahead and regenerate and see that this taper is now included in our groove shape. Let's go back into our geometry selection and move from 2 points to 1 point. We can see here that the point it wants us to select is on the right side, and our groove is going to propagate back from that point. So in this case, I'm going to do that same upper right quadrant, hit enter, and come back into our parameters. This time we have the height is available to us to edit and our width is available to us, as well as this groove position over here. It's very hard to see, but it's this yellow line that's pointing to this upper right corner. This is where our groove is starting from. All the same options can apply. We can have an even larger radius if we wanted to make this really kind of noticeable and say maybe 20-degree tapers. Let's go ahead and increase our width to 1/2 inch and make it deeper to 1/4 inch of a groove. Now when we regen, we see that there's been a significant change to our groove geometry. And this is very powerful if we need to make changes on the fly and we don't want to do a lot of monkeying around with model prep. And if you like this video, please consider giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to Streaming Teacher here on YouTube. And if you'd like more high-quality Mastercam training content, be sure to visit us at Streamingteacher.com.